that is just an algorithm is the same as this. Man created this. God created this. In fact, gold and silver are the only money that God created, and they're above global central bankers and governments' ability to inflate away. Why? Because I say so, or even because God says so? I'm not very religious, really. I'm very spiritual, just not very religious. No, it's because I pulled up and I was like, okay, how many areas and what groups in the sector of the global economy use physical gold? 33, Jesse. How many sectors of the global economy use physical silver? 36, Jesse. How many areas is this stuff, whichever currency, it doesn't really matter. How many areas use this stuff? One.
The Strait of Hormuz closure, I don't know if you could call it an official closure, but certainly not many ships are making it through. We're in a situation where insurance companies do not want to insure vessels at this point. So it's essentially creating a sort of soft blockade that has been a lot of the reason why oil prices have gone up so high. Now, assuming it doesn't open up soon, how big of an impact do you think that could have on the global economy and inflation in a time when so many are already having trouble making ends meet?
If you're going from, you're doubling the price of oil, that impacts everything. Fertilizer, and some of the fertilizer plants have shut down. So anything that we do, not just at the gas pump. And I can say that, when I was driving the other day, now I personally have a hybrid, and I like my hybrid because if I'm staying close, I don't use any gas. But I saw gas prices up over $5 a gallon here in Phoenix. Yeah. Well, so, and it's not just at the pump though, because if you need to put that gas in your car to get to work, then you're probably not, might impact your ability to buy that blouse or pants at Walmart or wherever else you've got to buy your stuff from. So, this will impact, even if it was open today, the damage to the infrastructure is going to take a long time to repair. And I would honestly say that I do personally, since what I track more than anything else these days is confidence, the consumer confidence, because that's what's holding this together is the public confidence. I think that the interest or the inflation will spike high enough to be, it's already noticeable, much more noticeable. And I think that will eliminate any level of confidence that the public now has. And I think that that's when the hyperinflation will start to become noticeable.
Yeah, that's a great segue because my very next question was about a video you released on your YouTube channel a few weeks back titled "The Confidence Crash That Could Trigger Hyperinflation." So walk us through that scenario, how you think it could emerge and what the implications could be.
Well, number one, I think it's already emerging in this whole big affordability issue, right? That's actually been an issue for a really long time, but that means that the public is really hesitant and they're also not comfortable with their job prospects, either maintaining their position or losing their position. And so that has everything to do with confidence in the system. And that is required because this is a Ponzi scheme. And so there are two key things that are always required in every Ponzi scheme. And this is what the problem is. The biggest one is confidence. And the second one is new money. And we've kind of already done that new money piece so that when they go out and they being the central banks, when they print and create from debt all of this new money, it destroys the rest of the purchasing power. So now when you go to the store and that loaf of bread has gone from, $5 for a loaf to $9 for a loaf, what does that do to the confidence that you've got some kind of stable future? And there's already a growing revolution, which thank goodness, because there needs to be. Because if there isn't, then the guys that are in power that have abused us all these years will continue that. So I see inflation probably back at 7-8% officially, which means much higher than that unofficially. And people will stop. They're going to stop all discretionary spending. They don't have any choice. They already don't have much choice about that. And then if they do, what does that do to all of the prices? It makes them go up even more. That's that doom loop that goes from, collateral, intermediary, liquidity, confidence, and then real world. And so that will definitely hit. That's in that confidence piece that hits the real world. And if you can remember back to 2008, once the subprime, which was really a derivative issue, once that imploded, then it was like a domino effect with the rest of the real world. And what saved that or prevented it from dropping much more, and I'm thinking real estate in particular, was a whole bunch of this. But they've been using that since 2008. And what they've seen is that every time they do that, they have to do a whole lot more and they're getting a whole lot less impact. Well, there's your hyperinflation, because that feeds into all of everything you do and buy. So you've got the rising oil prices that impact every single thing we do: food, generating water, energy, everything. So all of your costs are going up. And you mentioned insurance. They're disgusting as it is. They don't want to really insure. That's not really their job. Their job is to not pay you out. So that too goes into the cost of everything. So, I don't like to put any time frames on things because timing is the biggest challenge for any technician. I do have my beautiful crystal ball, and I can look at the crystal ball and say, when, but it never answers.
Well, how much of this is all by, yeah, I like it. How much of this is all by design and this, the digital prison that's trying to be implemented? We've got the digital euro potentially rolling out fairly soon. I haven't been following it too closely recently. The EU's got all sorts of problems. I don't know if they'll be able to roll this out and implement it as soon as they'd like. But of course, this whole stablecoin situation in the United States, how much of that is potentially a Trojan horse to kind of bring people into a digital currency system? And ultimately, as this hyperinflation occurs, you have to imagine the political elites, the banker class, are going to use this as a tool to corral the herd into some sort of digital alternative. Is that what you see happening?
100%. I mean, 100%. When you study currency life cycles and you see these repeatable patterns, and to your point, Jesse, they are not going to just go, oh, all right, we've taken enough from you. We are going back. If we don't do something about it, if we don't get redeemable gold back in the system again, we're back at feudal times. Because this digital prison, I've been watching Bitcoin since what? It came out in 2009. I believe it was 2010 at $7 a coin. That's how long I've been watching Bitcoin. People think I don't know anything about it, but, and you're right. I'm not an engineer, and I'm certainly not that kind of an engineer, but I absolutely trust my knowledge on regime changes and currency life cycles. And when one currency dies, another one is born. Gold and silver hold your purchasing power intact and protect you. And they are the bridge to get you from one system to the other system. And also, oh, by the way, take advantage of opportunities along the way as all of this fiat money inflation is burned out of these assets. And again, we see who's going to survive, because all of this was built on debt. And at some point, all debt gets handled in some way. You either pay it, you roll it over, or you default on it. Is there another way? Let's see, pay it, roll it over. Yeah, I think that's it. What else can you do with debt? So you can take on more debt to pay it, roll it over, and that is wash, rinse, and repeat. Look at the debt. Look at any of the debt charts. That's exactly what's happening. Wash, rinse, and repeat. So if the whole entire system is built on constantly compounding debt, can that happen forever? And do they want it to? No, they do not. Without one doubt in my mind, this is my physical representation of Bitcoin. Amazing how much it looks like this, because they want you to think that this garbage that is just an algorithm is the same as this. Man created this. God created this. In fact, gold and silver are the only money that God created, and they're above global central bankers and governments' ability to inflate away. Why? Because I say so, or even because God says so. I'm not very religious, really. I'm very spiritual, just not very religious. No, it's because I pulled up and I was like, okay, how many areas and what groups in the sector of the global economy use physical gold? 33, Jesse. How many sectors of the global economy use physical silver? 36, Jesse. How many areas is this stuff, whichever currency, it doesn't really matter. How many areas use this stuff? One. I mean, it's definitely a trading tool. This is in one area, the financial area only. And how about this physical representation of an algorithm? One place. We're in the fight of our lives. Everybody needs to determine, do you want to trust everything that is only used in one place? So when that demand goes away, it evaporates. We've seen a lot of those bonds at JP Morgan, these private equity issues that have gone from par, so $100 or $1,000 par, to zero, written off overnight. I think that's pretty darn interesting. Physical gold and silver do not go in those doom loops. They sit outside that doom loop. So even if you're going to make that choice, you better be properly diversified. But 100%, this fiat system is about robbing you, and they've done an outstanding job of it because you have to volunteer. Let's stop volunteering. What is that? Though I have to say, I listened to this woman on Bloomberg this morning. I don't remember her name. I pulled up what she was talking about, so I will know her name because I didn't leave it to my memory. But she was talking about how the US dollar and Wall Street, this is like a Hallmark movie. And she reckoned it right back to Reese Witherspoon in Sweet Alabama or something like that, that one movie where she's in Manhattan and she's dating Patrick Dempsey and he asks her to marry him. And this is a very suave and very handsome guy, but she had to go back to her hometown to find her true love. And so her point is that everybody is piling into dollars and into Wall Street because they don't see a better alternative. You want to know what the better alternative is? Right here. I thought that was an interesting analogy, though.
Yeah, I like that. Very well said. Well, tell us about Zang International. Tell us about your YouTube channel and anywhere else you want to direct people online.
Well, we are very active all over the place, but in YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, it's at ZANGINTL. So Zang International. On X, it's at the Lynette Zang, and every Tuesday in Arizona time, I do a live, like a 2.5 hour Q&A live every week. Next week, I'm going to be traveling for a few weeks, so it'll be a little bit different, but I'm easy to find. I'm easy to get to. And we're very active because we believe so strongly in education and citizens for sound money. We all have to look in the mirror right now. This is the time to look, not go, I'll save that for later. We have to look in the mirror and you have to ask yourself, if not me, who? And if not now, when? Because we are in the battle of our lives and not for ourselves, but for our children and all the children yet to come. And I have some serious concerns about what is going to happen if not only do we not get sound money in the system, but people continue to be dependent upon the system. And that's where local community comes in.